Welcome to the Flourish Frequency, the show where we activate and amplify the frequencies of success, joy, and abundance. I'm your host, Beth Larson, a high-performance and quantum success coach. If you're ready to ditch the hard hustle and embrace a more effortless flow, then this is the show for you. Together, we'll tap into quantum thinking, harness the laws of the universe, and unlock the secrets to living a life of more. More joy, more energy, more passion, more money, and more meaning. No more simply surviving, we're going beyond thriving. It's time to flourish. The Flourish Frequency Show starts now. Hello and welcome back. Yes, we are here, the Flourish Frequency, the show where we do explore the power of energy and alignment and really becoming the most fully and expressed version of you. And today's conversation, I intend that it's going to be both grounding and expansive. We're going to be exploring something that I know is essential in today's world, especially for women who are walking a spiritual or leadership path. And that would be the art of inner mapping. My guest today is the beautiful and wise Ash Brouwer, founder of the Reclaim Within methodology. Ash is a guide, an astrologer, a space holder who helps people restore right relationship with life and come home to themselves with compassion, with curiosity, and with reverence. And I can speak to that myself. I've known Ash now for a couple of years. We were just talking, I think it's been over 2 years now. And I've really been on the receiving end of her gifts. And she is absolutely incredible. So I'm so thrilled that you're joining us here today, Ash.
Hi, thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm great. It's a great day to be alive today. Yeah.
Cool. Well, just before we dive into the topic here, you know, the title of the show is Flourish Frequency, and I'd love to know, what does the word flourish mean to you when you hear it?
It's so interesting because when you say that word, I actually just see this beautiful, like slow motion vision of a flower opening, like something that's just alive and coming alive and expanding out. And so it's more of like a feeling that I get with the word than it is, anything else.
I love it. Yes. For me, it's so funny you say it, because for me, when I embrace the word flourish, what comes to mind for me is this big, beautiful field of flowers that are just like, so much color and vibrancy. And I always describe, thriving as like a plant coming up through the concrete is thriving, but they're doing it the hard way. And flourishing is that place right beyond it, where it's just everything is alive and vibrant, and there's support and there's energy. And so, yeah, that's what it means for me. So I love that you actually had that same connection with it. Yeah, it feels amazing. So tell me a little bit, as we dive in here, walk us through a little bit about your path to creating Reclaim Within. What is that all about? And what is this inner mapping about? And what is the word or the words Reclaim Within mean to you?
Yeah, I love that. It's been a beautiful, wild, long path, and I won't tell the whole story, but I will say that I have been deeply interested in systems and how we as humans work for a very long time, since I was very, very young. I think I first started getting into astrology around 12 or 13 years old. Wow. And it was from a curiosity place. I didn't understand how something that connected us to the solar system could explain our human experience. And I just dove in headfirst to understanding that. And it's evolved so much since then. As my consciousness expanded, I've been able to really shift and understand how the world works differently. And so I built Reclaim Within because I actually think that all of us are here on this earth with a purpose, and that every single one of us is the way that we are for all these beautiful reasons, and that we often dismiss our humanness and we dismiss all the information that we're getting. And so to be able to explore how we reclaim our souls, but also our humanness is really what's bridged for me in Reclaim Within. It's reclaiming both your connection to your soul self, but also your humanity. And that's where the inner mapping work has kind of come in to bridge. I work on teaching very rooted, practical concepts and systems that we can use in our day-to-day lives to allow ourselves to understand ourselves and others better and reclaim what it means to be uniquely us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, how is inner mapping different from like typical self-development or mindset work? I know you said you use different systems, right? And I know some of them. Like I know astrology and I know
Yeah.
human design we've talked about.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're with gene keys also, if you get into gene keys,
I
but
haven't dove in that far to that one. I
okay.
appreciate it, but I can't say that I've, mastered that system at all.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how have you kind of pulled it all together and what does actually the inner mapping look like for you? And how is it different?
Yeah. So I even in college, I took a very non-traditional path and I ended up studying. I got major in anthropology, art history, and sociology, and then I minored in religion. And the whole study, I created my own. It's called a Bachelor of Specialty Studies, and I did that in order to actually create my own path. And I was just curious about how so many different people and places and histories all over had similar messages. And it has always been so curious to me how we have all of these different, seemingly different paths and histories and religions, but yet there's so many threads that pull together. And I think that that's really what this work is. It embraces our humanness in such a different way that I see a lot of other placements doing. It's not like you're out there doing this map and it's not just conceptual. It's like, how do you see these different maps, whether it's astrology or human design or a religion that you were raised in? And how do we not just conceptualize it, but how do we really bring that into our lived human experience in the day-to-day moments of our lives and apply it? And that's where the sacred meets the human in this really, really beautiful way. And so it's been this path I've been on for the whole time. I've never not been trying to weave this together.
That's
I've just
fascinating that
recently been able to pull it in.
yeah, I love that your college experience brought all that together too. That's
Yeah.
impressive. That's an impressive amount of different studies that you were working together, but I can also see how they weave together.
Yeah,
And
I
really
see
come together.
patterns. I've always seen, I'm a projector in human design. So I think that that's a helpful tidbit about me, but I've always seen the patterns and how they pull together and how similar we actually are, even though we don't remember that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, when you start working with somebody, like, where do you begin with that process? Because you do have so many different things that you pull from. And is it very unique person by person, or do you
Yeah.
have like okay. Where do
I was going to say it's really an interesting practice because I would say it's much more, inner mapping would be much more of a feminine
you-
way to approach versus a lot of other coaching containers. I feel like there's a very masculine process, which I actually very much appreciate. There's nothing I have a deep appreciation for those procedures and processes and steps A through Z. But every single one of us is so unique. We are each so unique and we are so nuanced. And we are the way we are for really beautiful, wild reasons. And so I approach each person just as I would approach a different flower in nature. Keep going with the flower analogies, but no one's the same. And so I come to each call really open to, okay, what are we going to find today? Or if I'm in a retreat space, I don't have any expectations. I really enjoy the unfolding and the mystery that comes with each person. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard you speak before about returning to right relationship. So, right relationship, I'm assuming with self, with others, with life. Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean for you?
So in my witnessing, in my lived experience, I've noticed there's a lot of desire, and even myself for a very long time, I desired so deeply to just be happy, to just have joy, to just be, and it was almost like a clinging to, and I witness this a lot in the world. We have these expectations of what we want, and then if it's not that, we continue to be in this like lack space, and so the entire goal, I think, is to shift from the perception that I don't have the thing to actually being able to witness the distortions so that we can reharmonize. And
Right.
it's really about being in harmony with, so harmony with self, harmony with life, harmony within partnership, harmony within friendship. Like it's being in right relationship is bringing in a level of ability to see with compassion that this distortion doesn't mean I'm bad, you're bad, we are bad. It means that there's something in the field or something in our relationship that needs tending to, that needs to be brought back into harmony. And when we bring it back into harmony, we bring it back into right relationship.
Love that. Love that. And the mapping part, is that what does that actually mean in the context of your work?
Yeah, great question. So I like to use different conceptual maps to be able to anchor us into having a similar conversation. So one of my teachers gave me this very simple but very beautiful map, which is north, south, east, and west. North being mind, south being heart, west and east being body and spirit. And just this very simple map of the wheel, we can have so many different conversations based on our relationship to those things and their relationship to us. And then we can unfold from there. But the mapping part is really, really important, because if we do not have some sort of anchor or structure to be able to talk about, it allows for us to actually be able to pull out where is the harmony and disharmony is in our beings. And so whether that's using maps like astrological maps or human design maps or these conceptual maps that I've inherited from my teachers along the way, I like to be able to pull those in so we have anchor points. So it doesn't feel so much like we're trying to learn a new language and boundaries, for example, boundaries is a very complex topic and most people have a really hard time with it. So to actually have a couple maps to put down of like, these are the 4 steps of setting a boundary. Very helpful. Very helpful for creating inner peace.
It's so funny you're talking about boundaries, because this conversation has come up it's the 5th time this has come up now. I'm like, okay, usually when the universe gives me like the 3rd time, I'm like, okay, I know there's a topic here. I need to either do an entire show on this or series of posts or something, or like even a course, whatever. It's just like, oh my gosh, boundaries is like a hot topic these days.
Well, we all want them, but no one knows how to have them and no one knows what they're really for, but we know they're good for us. It's very,
I know. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah. And it's so important and the way you set them, right? Like if you don't establish your boundaries, like I'm huge on setting boundaries out of love and not fear. And that was a huge, awakening for me, because I think I used to pride myself on having good boundaries, but I was setting them out of fear, to protect myself out of something. And so I wasn't getting to expand in the process. It was more like I was isolating.
Totally. Well, and then you have to know what fear actually feels like. And then you have to accept that you have that. There's so many steps,
Oh yeah, this could be a whole other show. We might have to schedule another one, Ash. Speaking of like knowing what it feels like what does it feel like in the body or the energy field when somebody is disconnected from their inner rhythm, from their truth? Like, how do you, as somebody who's working with them, key into it? Because I know, having been with you before, like you're so intuitive and you laser right into what people are feeling. And so from your side of it, how does that feel? And then what do you feel? Sorry, how would you describe it the way they feel it as the person, or guide them to that, I should say?
It's a really beautiful question. I think the best way for me to answer this is that a lot of us have inherited a belief system that some of the things that we feel, some of the emotions that we have are not okay. We've learned that it's like, for me, for a long time, being vulnerable, like in front of people, was a very scary thing. And so we've learned to lock away like a really big part of what makes us human. And there's so much intelligence in your bodies and in your beings and in your humanness. And every single emotion you have, everything that you emote is just trying to tell you something. It's just a signal that's trying to tell you something, anything. And because of my own work I've done a lot of deconditioning around emotions being good or bad, right or wrong. And I just have gotten to really be with that there are these beautiful teachers that we've forgotten how to listen to. And we don't have to look anywhere outside of us for these teachers. They are all right here inside of us.
Amen. Yeah.
And so it's been a really beautiful part of my work to get to bring compassion and care to places where people are scared to let themselves have those emotions
Yeah.
and be with them and just witness them in whatever is there and whatever is scary and hard
Yeah.
at the moment, because then we can learn from it. And when you learn from it and why it's there and what it's trying to tell you, oh my gosh, so much magic can unlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel it in your own body when it's something like, are you empathic that way? I guess maybe that's part of your projector.
Yeah, I think I've also had really amazing teachers. Like I feel like the right teachers have come in at the right time in my life, and I've gotten to learn a lot through, one of my teachers calls it essential knowledge, meaning that it's not knowledge that can be taught, but it's knowledge that can be modeled and shared. And so just through being in their presence and I'm able to feel how they connect with people and almost mirror them or mimic them and how they connect in. And so it's hard to explain it, but I can see on someone's face and how they hold their shoulders and how they hold their jaw. Like I can tell so much about somebody and what they're repressing and what they are sharing with me without them having to say one word. And it's just a language I've learned through my teachers. I don't know how to explain that fully.
But I jaw for a reason, because I hold my jaw.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that from our time together. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So,
And
okay.
a lot of these patterns we've learned, we've inherited them. Like a lot of these are blueprints or inheritances from
Yeah,
many generations. So for us, it's completely normalized.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
wild.
Wow. Well, I think we're going to take a quick break here. And then when we come back, I'd love to talk a little bit more about maybe the topic of sovereignty and how that fits into the work that you do and how it helps us flourish in this chaotic world that we don't have any control over. How do we keep our own sovereignty and all that? So we'll take a quick break and we'll come right back to that. All right, we are back here at the Flourish Frequency show with the beautiful Ash Brouwer and creator of the Reclaim Within methodology. And I'm enjoying this conversation very much. I'm looking forward to now kind of diving into this topic of sovereignty, because I know that that's big for you, is for me too. And I think that's it's so powerful because here we are in this world where everything is uncertain, everything is unknown. The only known is that there's chaos. But I feel like that calls us even more to coming back to our inner power, and not giving it away to the things outside of us. So, what does sovereignty mean to you? Not just as a buzzword, but like as an actual lived experience.
Yeah. When I feel into how I've experienced sovereignty, it actually has a lot more to do with the small things,
Mm.
like agency over how I respond to the
Mhm.
world around me versus react, and that ability to actually connect to presence, to
Mm.
be able to respond versus just react, and how simple that sounds
Yeah.
and how not easy it is, especially when so much is vying for our attention span.
Yeah.
I do know that the only thing constant is change. And this has been a big mantra for me for a long time. And it's okay, great. If life is going to keep changing, how do I connect to being in choice in the micro moments of my life and actually develop more adaptability? Because the more adaptable we are, the more we actually can then be aware of where we're not in choice too.
Right. Right.
And I think we miss that sometimes. We
Yeah,
miss where we're not in
definitely.
choice or where we don't have sovereignty. So
How do you help people get to that place of presence? Because it's like the ever elusive thing for people is just being present.
totally. It's such
Easier
a,
said than done.
yes, it's such an interesting word. I like to focus on movement and breath. All of my people know that I say over and over, movement, breath, and sound are the three gifts that we've been given in our physical bodies that we can use all of the time. And the goal is not presence for the whole day. It's that something comes up and you are going to react. And instead of doing that, you take a giant breath in, or you sigh out, or you shake it off, or you go for a walk around the block before you then respond. It's actually just a micro moment of presence that's needed.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves of like, I need to be present all the time. It's like actually just for the little things, work on being present and just a little bit present.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true. Because that's what the present is, right? It's like that tiny little moment
Yeah.
that actually is just repeating over and over and over again. But it's like
Yes.
it's just that tiny little piece. When we can practice it once and then practice it again and practice it again, it's like that's how that presence expands. But
Exactly. Like if
yeah,
you sat down to meditate, you did it for a second. You
yeah,
chose yourself for 1 second. Maybe it didn't happen, but it's the choice that you made that really is something that needs to be celebrated. And then
amen.
more of those little choices, over and over.
Exactly, exactly. I know that's one of my favorite practices is celebration because when we can restructure and start to celebrate ourselves for the little things. It's like, well, you get more of that if you celebrate it. So
Totally.
if you want to be present more, celebrate the moment that you are present,
Yes.
and celebrate that you did it. Celebrate that you showed up for yourself. It's like that you can compound so much celebration
Yeah, totally.
when you start looking for it.
Yes.
So
On
yeah,
my hardest days, I take myself outside a lot and I just have myself really be like, that is a beautiful tree. That's a beautiful bird. I just name all the beautiful things I can see because I know that I'm having a really hard day. But
yeah,
if I can just be with what is beautiful too, I can hold the paradox of both.
yeah.
It soothes something. It allows for there to be more appreciation for the humanness.
I love that. So, because I love that you just said hold the paradox, because that was one of the questions I actually had for you, like what that looks
Okay.
like in practice. How do you hold the paradoxes of being human? Because I think sometimes people are trying to compartmentalize so much
Yes.
and have it be either or, but there's so much power, right? And I think for me, this comes back to sovereignty of being able to hold both
Yep.
and do it at the same time and not try and resist the stuff that's hard.
Yes. One
But
of the
instead,
concepts I like to teach about is two things can be true.
mm-hmm.
And if two things can be true, then five things can be true. And if five things can be true, right? And so,
Yeah,
but let's just start with two, is what I tell people. I'm like, let's just start with two things, right? I can
yeah,
have a really hard day and the tree outside my window can be really beautiful.
yes,
And both of those things can be true.
yeah,
I can be really mad at someone and really, really sad at someone. And at the exact same time, I can love them very dearly.
yes,
And the more we practice being able to hold that more than one thing can be true, the more that we teach ourselves to be in like that right relationship. And that's harmonizing. So it doesn't make it feel like it's all or nothing, good or bad, right or
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. And then the bad doesn't consume you.
Yeah, then you don't get lost in the dark so hard
Yeah,
core.
so true. So
which
true.
we've all done. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. Raising my hand. I'm not going to say guilty because guilt, I don't want guilt with that. I'm just witnessing that, yes, I've done it
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah. And I'll probably do it again. Right.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
Yep.
But I find that it's interesting that you can, you can collapse the time that you spend in the downs. It's like, you know, there's always going to be ups and downs because that's part of the laws of physics, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to think that there's never going to be a down, there will be downs, just like the stock market. Just because it's going down, we know it'll go back up again. And we know going back up again, it's going to go down again. Like there are always ups and downs. But when you can focus your energy and attention on what you want instead of trying to resist the downs or pretend like they don't exist, when the downs happen, I find you can spend less time in them
Yes.
and they don't go down as far.
Yes.
So for me, that's kind of what that work looks like, is like not trying to think that it's never going to happen. It's actually needed to create some momentum for when you go back up again.
Exactly. We are a part of the natural world, and we are going to contract. I actually have been doing this inner mapping work so long that when I contract, even though it's really uncomfortable, I get excited.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, wow, this is a big contraction. I'm probably going to expand a lot on the other side of this. This is real hard, right?
Totally.
And so it's just, I tell people all the time, we've fallen out of step with the natural world and how connected really are.
Yeah.
There's a winter, there's a summer, even in places where there's, tropics, there's a rainy season and there's a sunny season. We need both. We need the paradox to be a part of the natural world.
Exactly. What do you see when somebody is when they're out of integrity with themselves and out of that alignment, right, with the natural world? Like, how does it show up in some of the patterns? What are some of the kind of warning signs that you see?
Yeah. So integrity to me is when my thoughts match my words, match my actions, and match my heart's desire. So that's a lot that has to get in alignment to be in integrity.
Yep.
And something really common I see is that, we in a relationship, for example, you want to show up the way that the other person wants you to, but it's not actually how or what you want to do. So you'll do the thing, but your mind doesn't want to. And so you say with your words, yeah, I'll do that for you, but your heart's not in it or your mind's not in it, right? And so maybe there's not an actionable follow-up in that.
Yeah.
And so the reroute would be noticing in yourself more, or noticing with someone else in the relationship. If they're saying one thing and doing another, it's not because they're wrong and bad necessarily, right?
Right.
It's that they're actually out of integrity for some reason. And maybe they want to give you something, but it's not aligning for them. And they're not noticing that. I watch us dismiss ourselves a lot. And so I think if you're dismissing yourself a lot and you're not listening to what you actually really want, if you're shoving your own sense of self or your own voice away, then you're not going to be in integrity. And so it's really like, where can our alignment happen of both your actions and your words get into the same groove? Because then usually the heart and the thoughts kind of can get on board a little bit more. And it's so, again, simple, not easy, but
so true. Is there a time that you'd be willing to share where like you had a moment where you realized you were out of integrity, and like what was the awareness, the awakening for you, and what did you do to move yourself back into integrity?
Yeah, great question. So one of the patterns that I grew up with is being a people pleaser. This is a big one for me for a long time. And It came from a genuine place, I believe, of like really wanting to be connected, to belong, to feel accepted. It was that was like the desire. But I actually blew past myself a lot in that. And so a lot of people didn't actually get to know the real me because I just wanted to make sure that they were happy versus be in connection to myself. And so it took a long time, to be honest, to reroute that one. And I still will feel myself go to that like freeze fawn response sometimes. I'm so much more aware of it now. I have so much more ability to be present with it. And it's just having to go back to that younger part of me that learned that that's how you get connection and remind myself, reclaim myself, my true soul self back in. And sometimes I say yes to something and then I have to go back and be like, I said yes to you because I really like you and I want you to like me too. But I now need to say no, and it's just having to find the integrity, even if it's 2 steps later, Yeah.
Now I know why we get along so well.
Yeah.
that fawning, that's my number one stopping strategy.
Totally.
Yeah. So I had that happen recently in the last year, a big insight where it's like, oh, I realized that was a pattern that I had been kind of looping back into over and over again. And I completely was not aware of it. Like I didn't realize that I was doing it. And I would sacrifice my own desires for somebody else just out of like loyalty and honor and all of that. And I'm like, oh, but I'm not being loyal to myself. I'm not honoring myself. And that's not really doing justice for the other person when I'm not showing up as my most empowered self and sovereign self. So that was a big aha moment for me.
Totally. And it's a great quality to be so loyal.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to turn it inwards and outwards. And the more that we know ourselves and reclaim ourselves, the easier we can actually be in relationship with someone else. But it's both and, right? It's
both and, yep.
And it is never ending. We're spiraling around and around and around. There's no like place to get to. We're doing it.
For sure. You've talked before about sacred witnessing. So how does that differ from fixing someone or coaching someone out of their feelings? Like, what does that actually mean for you?
Yeah, it's starting with acceptance and validation. I don't have to like what you feel or like what you say, but I can accept it and I can help validate it for you so that you can actually be able to sit in that.
Yeah.
And not need to push or pull or prod, even if I can see where you could go. And I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people is we can see so much for others. We can see their potential or where they could go. And if they just did this one thing, then, and we skip the witnessing part, we skip the validation part, which I think is the most important part, because without being validated and witnessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the vulnerability is okay to come through, right? Isn't that witnessing and validating?
Yeah.
How do you validate for somebody that might be, they're in their place of like, they have every right, but that righteousness is actually creating a lot of resistance, right? A lot of disharmony ultimately, because they're so in the righteousness of like, but I have every right to feel this way. How do you kind of help them across that line?
I would say that, okay, this is not a rule. I'm not going to assume this is true for everybody, but if someone's showing up in that one way, it would tell me that there's maybe a lot of not feeling safe happening. And so if you need to cling to your reality so much that you're right, then I actually want to see you in that so that we can actually connect in some way, because they'll tell me that you're not in a place of safety. And if you're not in a place of safety, then I can't really have I don't want to convince you of anything. So I'm going to just witness you in the fact that you're not feeling safe.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Well, gosh, I can't believe we're going to take another break. I feel like we just took one, but we'll take another quick break here. And when we come back, I'd love to get some just practical tips, maybe where people could get started on their own inner mapping journey, like what would be some of the ways they would begin and get started? And then, of course, where can people find you to find out more about the work you do? You want to share your website or?
Yeah, you can find me at reclaimwithin.co. I'm on Substack also, Reclaim Within. I have a podcast as well, and then Instagram, Reclaim
Beautiful.
Within. Yep.
Awesome. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back and we'll finish up. All right, welcome back. I can't believe how quickly this hour is going. I was just saying that, and it does feel like time is flying, but really when you're talking to somebody that you really vibe with, time does fly very quickly. So we are back here with the beautiful Ash Brouwer. And when I say beautiful, I mean definitely outwardly beautiful, but she has got such a beautiful soul, such a beautiful heart. And you can feel that. I know the listeners, I know whether they're watching this live or actually listening on replay on the podcast version, like I know you guys are feeling that and hearing that just in the energetics that she brings here to the conversation. So thank you for being with us.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I wanted to talk here a little bit in this final segment here about maybe some practical ways that the listeners could begin their own inner mapping journey and finding their way to their own home, not their physical home, but their home, their body, their soul home, with grace and gentleness. What would that look like? What does creating an inner kingdom look like in your world?
Yeah, I love that. Well, I teach a course once a year called Building Inner Kingdoms, and I go through like 22 different concepts in that course that will help you actually anchor in to yourself and build from the inside out. And in our mass culture, where we're not given tons of tools early on to build from the inside out, we are building a lot outside of us, but not the inside out. So it can feel really confusing at first, or maybe a little disorienting. One of the first things I like to tell people is that awareness is 50% of the work.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a big percentage. So if you witness a pattern in yourself that you're wanting to shift or change, or if you're learning, oh, I'm like this because of this blueprint from this younger experience I had, you've done half of the work just by being aware.
Yeah.
And so that takes a load off. That's nice.
Yes.
And then can you bring compassion to the story that you're in?
Mm-hmm.
Can you actually offer grace to whatever is happening? I think a lot of times we have the awareness and then we go, oh no, like running around like we've got like something hot in our hands. Like, what do I do with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just recognizing the story that you're telling yourself and knowing that it's only here to be witnessed because you're ready to witness it. It's just time. It's time to bring the dissonance into harmony.
That's beautiful.
And as much as you can, do it with as much grace as possible. And if you can't do it with grace, find someone who can help you do it with grace,
Yeah.
Find a friend, find a counselor, anybody who can actually help be a witness and bring it into coherence.
You said earlier about, you almost get excited by your contractions now because you know that, and that's the same thing for me. It's like if I could give one gift to people, it's the ability to get excited when you catch the pattern or the story or whatever, because it's not a bad thing. It's like, that's your growth, that's your opportunity. That's not your obstacle anymore. It's only an obstacle when you don't even know it's there.
It is really crazy though to think about, because I tell people all the time, if I had a fire, you wouldn't go up to it and just put your hand in it. It would be super uncomfortable, right? Unless you're trained to, or you're a tiny human and you don't know yet, right? So we've literally learned through lived experience to not go towards the thing that feels uncomfortable.
Right.
So the fact that now we're right now sharing, like, no, go towards the uncomfortable thing. Be happy when you're uncomfortable. It's actually where the growth is. It totally actually is really confusing. And I used to use the example of going to the gym and lifting weights and feeling sore after. It's like, that's how you know it's working.
Yeah.
Weirdly,
is that
sore. Yeah. And so that I when in a lot of the work I do, I'm I'm like, if it hurts the next day, or if you're like, oh my God, I had this crazy awareness, I don't know what to do with it. It's like, great, you just worked out of the gym. We're
Yeah.
recreating a new story. We're letting it be a new path, you know?
Yeah. And building all new muscles,
Yeah. Yeah.
muscles that are atrophied.
Yeah. Cause a lot of times those patterns have been there for
Yeah.
the whole time, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's beautiful. Um, how do you make space for people's becoming and not just their achieving
Yeah.
in the work that you do?
A big part of the work I do is helping just reclaim what we're really truly desiring at the end of the day, which is to be seen, felt, heard, cared
Mm.
for. And one of the things I teach early on in the Inner Kingdoms course is that honor, dignity, and respect, those three pillars. I don't know a human that doesn't desire honor, dignity, and respect.
Yeah.
And so if you can build your life around those three pillars or bring them more into your day to day, and even if it's for 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day, just be with, how do I honor myself today? How do I respect
Yeah.
myself today? How do I show up with more dignity today? That's where the alchemy happens. And you start to be who you want to be and
Yeah.
respect yourself as you want to be respected. And then people around you start shifting because they feel that you're operating like that, you know, and it
Yeah.
just changes how everything is from a
Yeah.
very being place, not a doing place.
Yeah. And you're not looking for those things from the outside anymore. It's like it's flowing through you.
And that's
There's
how you
that
attract
sovereignty,
it.
right?
Yeah. And that's how you attract more in.
Yeah.
The more I treat myself with honor, dignity, respect, the more I then call that in.
Yeah.
If I'm treating myself with the dishonor and disrespect and not having dignity for myself, I'm not going to then be calling that in. And then
Yeah.
I might yell at someone for not respecting me, but then we're just stuck in the loop, you know?
Exactly. The never ending loop.
Yeah. It's an
Yeah. I
inside
had
out
a mentor
process.
once teach me, we teach people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves.
That's it.
It's like,
And that's
that's
the
it.
being piece. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So if someone is ready to realign with their soul's map, even if they don't know what it is, right? Like they don't know what that is. What's one gentle first step that they can take to get started? Like they know that there's something else, but they don't know what it is that their soul map
Totally.
is. Does that question make sense?
It does. I actually think that confusion is a beautiful portal of initiation.
Hmm.
I
Say more.
really do.
I love this.
Yeah, I feel like when we're confused, when we don't know what's next, when we don't know what to do, when we're feeling really torn or
Hmm.
at our wits' end, that's actually how we know that we're at a threshold, that we're at a portal, that we are going
Hmm.
to step into something else. We just have to then cultivate the courage to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, one of my teachers taught me, which I pass this on to everybody I can. So, keep passing it on, but do more of what you love. Because when you do more of what you love, like what lights you up, that's how you actually build your will. That's how you build your ability to have courage, to be able to
Hmm.
be confused and to be able to be not sure what's next. You know,
Yeah.
so if you love gardening, garden more. If you love singing, sing more. If you love cooking, cook more. It's the more that you do what you love, the more the path will unfold before
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And that actually makes me think it's like, what do you need to say no to so you can say yes to those things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Yeah, there you go. We could circle right back to the good old boundaries topic. Okay, I'm hearing
Really
you.
helpful. They're really helpful. And they're
Okay,
hard for a lot of us,
they
you know.
are. I know they get easier. I
They
really do
do.
think they get easier.
Yeah, they do.
Totally. Um, I know you mentioned earlier, like that you like if you're having a hard day, you'll go outside and look at what's beautiful outside. But what would be some other practices or rituals that you think help people stay anchored or grounded for themselves when everything does feel chaotic and overwhelming on the outside?
Yeah, great question. I have a daily prayer
Hmm.
practice. I have an altar that I tend to. There's something about tending to an altar, like lighting a candle every day, putting out fresh water, that just brings this ritual rhythm back into my life, like a lived experience. And some days my prayers are long, and some days my prayers are short, and some days I'm just breathing.
Yeah.
And so it's finding the ritual. It's really about building and finding the ritual that allows for you to connect to your connection to source, or your connection to self. And so for someone that might be going for a run, for someone else it might be taking a shower, taking a bath. Like, it doesn't matter what your ritual is, but it's allowing for yourself to have a ritual and
Mm.
prioritize it. Allow for yourself to be in connection with that which brings you home.
Yeah. Is this also, I'm curious, where maybe some of your like astrology or human design or the different types of maps, like you might look and explore with somebody maybe what's
Yes.
unique to them and their way of kind of operating in this world, since those are
Yes.
kind of those types of maps?
Totally. And speaking of astrology and human design, we are moving into a very different reality
Yeah.
as time moves on very quickly here. And it's going to be paramount for us to actually be able to be in connection with our uniqueness, because each and
Mm.
every one of us are going to need to be able to individuate and find our own unique gifts, and they're not anybody else's. And so being able to understand your gene keys, your human design, your astrology, using these outside tools to help validate what you already know on the inside. I tell people all the time,
Yeah.
I used to love getting people in to do readings that didn't believe in whatever I was saying. It was my favorite, because I was like, great, don't believe it. This is not a belief structure. Don't believe
Yeah.
anything I say. Let's just see if anything lands. And
Yep.
by the end of the reading, we'd have the coolest conversation and we'd have so many laughs. And it's just finding what resonates with you. And
Yeah.
nobody else has the tone, the resonant tone that you do. Each and every one of us is like little tiny drops from heaven down here, having
Yeah.
our own frequency. And so it's find your frequency and play it loud.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I love the in human design and gene keys in particular. I don't know as much specifically about astrology. I definitely follow all my favorite astrologers, but I find sometimes people they try and like pigeonhole.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not what it's not what it's about. It's about, what resonates, what feels true for you. And the truth is always there in these maps. You're right. It's like it's always there and they know it. Although sometimes it's like they may have been disconnected from it for so long that it didn't
Yeah.
feel resonant at first, but the more you deepen into it, it's like, oh, yes, this is exactly this feels so much true to who I am and what I'm here to
Right.
do.
Well, and we have
So,
to do the really hard work of deconditioning, which really
yeah,
isn't comfortable.
yeah,
It's safer to be who I was supposed to be and who I was told to be in a
yeah,
lot of ways. The unfamiliar and having to turn towards who I actually am, it's
yeah.
scary. Or it can be. It doesn't have to be. But
Learning the difference between the truth and the truth as you know it. It's
yeah, that's a
like
good.
night and day when you actually realize, oh, maybe my truth is actually not a higher truth.
Yeah. It's confronting, or it can be confronting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So I'm curious what you're most excited about for in your own life. Like what's coming up for Ash and what's next for you and
Beautiful question. I am actually in this really beautiful phase of my life where I feel like my identity, and I think a lot of us are actually moving through this, my identity is kind of falling apart and coming back together in a lot of
mm,
ways. And I'm really witnessing how much I'm I'm not the same person as I was 3 months ago. And so
mm,
I'm actually really, really excited about it. It's been unnerving and a little scary because I've been stepping out of working the way that I worked for the last 5 years. And so I'm shifting that a lot. And as I shift it, I get more excited about, I have no idea who I'm going to be in the 3 more months from now. I
yeah,
know the routines, I know my rituals, I know that I'll show up for the people I work with. But other than that, I don't actually know. And it's exciting to me to actually not know right now.
That's beautiful. Yes, it's the breakdown of the old identity so the new one can emerge. And
we're like all in the primordial
amazing
goo right now, like we're not yet butterflies, but we can feel that we're in the metamorphosis.
Dissolving with our own stomach acid. Or
some people that's for real.
Metaphorical stomach acids.
That might be real. Yeah.
Something really beautiful coming out. So well, wonderful. Ash, thank you so much for being here today. Like, I literally can't believe how quickly this hour went.
I know.
But I so much appreciate the depth and the devotion and just the clarity that you brought to the conversation here today, and to the work that you do and the work that you do with people. It makes such a deep difference for so many. I know that. And I'm just blessed and grateful that I got a chance to meet you myself and our paths crossed. I knew, I believe it was in a car ride on the way to the airport where it's like we were just totally jiving, and I'm like, oh, this girl is amazing. She's incredible. So
thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. And to those listening, if something stirred inside you today, I just welcome you to pause and honor that. Whether it's grief or remembrance or a longing or a recognition, and anything that may have kind of brewed to the surface for you, it all belongs. Your path doesn't have to make sense to anybody else out there. It's your own journey. It's your own map. It only has to feel true for you. And your inner map, your soul already knows the way. So as Ash mentioned before, you said you can find you on Instagram and Substack.
Yep.
At Reclaim Within.
Yep. Reclaim Within. Yep. Come find me. Come say hi. Yeah.
Beautiful. And we'll link our podcast and offerings in the show notes. And if this episode resonated for you, please leave a review, share it with a friend, and tag us both on Instagram. And remember that your frequency is the path. Flourishing doesn't come from doing more. It comes from returning home. So until next time, stay in your Flourish frequency. Thank you for tuning in to the Flourish Frequency Show with me, Beth Larson. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and are leaving with a heart full of inspiration and a mind buzzing with the possibilities of more. Tune in every third Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio for more frequency boosting conversations. And if you want more help getting into your Flourish flow and stepping into the possibilities of more, you can find me at BethLarsonCoaching.com. That's BethLarsonCoaching.com, Larson with an E.